Hi, I'm Henry Thomason from Green Street Hammers. Hammers polls have asked me the question, should Mark Noble receive a new contract at the end of his current contract, which is due to run out at the end of the 2020-21 season? Mark Noble will obviously be 34 years old then, so he will be on way into his 30s and would start to be thinking about retiring. In my opinion, I do think Mark Noble deserves a new contract if he wants it. If he wants to stay on and play, he should be given a new contract at West Ham. He's the life and soul of the club. He's one of the last pieces of the bowling ground we have at the club currently. A lot of other players have moved on, like James Tompkins, who was West Ham through and through, and it's hurtful to see him playing in a Crystal Palace shirt. So seeing Mark play in any other shirt other than our claret and blue would be just horrific, even to imagine. So I do think Mark should be given a contract for as long as it needs until he feels it's time for him to hang up his own boots and take on a different role at the club. Maybe that would be an important thing to put into his contract, that he has the option to take on a player coach role, so he can start to learn his coaching style and do his coaching badges while still providing for the club in a playing position. I do think we're in a good position to start phasing Mark out of the team of being so important for us, with Declan Rice and Thomas Souček. They're very good holding midfielders and box-to-box midfielders, which is sort of Mark Noble's role. So I do think we're finally in a position where Mark's playing ability isn't as crucial as it used to be, or as it once was. So I do think we're in a very good position to start moving on without him. But I do feel there is a role for Mark in the squad currently, whether or not it's his leadership on the pitch, which is always important in big games. So bringing Mark on with 20 minutes to go in a match is as good a substitution as anyone in terms of stabilising the guys on the pitch and leading them to the end of the game, whether it's holding off for a victory or holding on for a point. He's a very good person to bring on for that. So yeah, I do think Mark Noble should be given a new contract, and I probably would say at least 2 to 3 years for it. Thank you.
Do I think Noble should get a contract extension? I think most fans would agree that, yeah, he should get a contract extension. Problem with Noble is that he's at an age now where he should be looking to retire in the next few years, or, you know, sooner. And I think even he's admitted that. But the club, because of lack of investment and what have you, we've had to use him far too much. And a lot of pressure is on his shoulders, and it's not fair on him, to be honest with you. He's been an amazing servant to the club, one club man. He always turns up and at least tries. He's not always the best player. He's not going to be his best every single game that he plays. It's almost impossible. Most players in the world aren't that good, that consistent. So the fact that he, you know, at least tries, pulls on the shirt, you know, wraps the armband around his arm and gives it a go. I've got to respect Noble. I used to slag him off quite a lot, actually, I'll admit that, but I think I've come to realise now that, you know, it shouldn't be his fight all the time. Why should we have to keep relying on Mark Noble, a player who isn't the best technically, but he'll always give his heart? You know, we should have had players like Souček coming in years ago to take the load off his shoulders. And, you know, for me personally, I think he deserves a new contract, and then hopefully it'll be a way to usher him into the coaching system a bit earlier as well. So yeah, give him a contract extension, definitely.
Baz Cox from Claret and Blue Army TV. The question this week is, with Mark Noble's contract coming to an end at the end of the season 2021, would I give him a contract extension, and why? The simple answer for me is yes. Why? I don't honestly believe needs explaining, but I'll tell you why. I think that man lives and breathes West Ham United, and for me, he has to be in and around that side. All the while we can get him there, I'd keep him there. No, he's not going to go on forever. No, he's not the most gifted footballer in the world. No, he's not one of our better players, and no, he's not a 38 game a season man. But what he is someone who understands West Ham, who understands what it means to the fans. He understands what the players need to give for the club and for the supporters to get the reaction. You know, he is what every fan thinks, but as a player. So 100% I'd give him an extension. No, I wouldn't be giving him 3 or 4 years, but I would give him a year at a time. But I wouldn't wait until last knockings to offer him the next year. So at the end of 2021, I'd offer him a year. When there's 4 to 6 months left, I'd offer him another year if he's still ready to keep going, and offer him another year and another year and another year. Don't make him feel unwanted and hanging on a thread at the end. You know, that man is everything about West Ham, and I don't think personally he'll be appreciated and respected until he retires. But right now, for me, Mark Noble has to be, if not in, certainly around that team every single week whilst we've got troubles and fights on our hand. And that's the situation we're in right now. So without a shadow of a doubt, Mark Noble, yes, I would extend his contract.
As we know, Mark Noble's contract is up in June next year. Do I think we should be extending it? 100%. I think we should be extending it by a year. I just don't think now's the right time to lose such a key player and key force in West Ham. I know some people would argue with me, and I understand that he these days has more off moments than on moments on the pitch. But ultimately, he is a leader. He's our leader. He has been for quite a long time, and I actually do still think he has stuff to offer. I do think he's a quality midfielder. I mean, I don't think he should be playing a full 90 minutes, and I do understand he's 34 next year. And I think even he admits himself that the team shouldn't be relying on him, but he does need to be there still, I think. And we notice a difference on the pitch, I think, when he doesn't start. For me, he's a starter always. I just think that there's a lack of leadership on the pitch when he's not there. It's a super uncertain time in football. It's a super uncertain time for West Ham, and I think he's a consistent part, and we need consistency because there's the risk, obviously, the Premier League coming back if we're relegated, and if we're relegated, we 100% need him. But even if we stay up, I still think we do need him. Next season's going to be however next season works, but next season there's going to be youth in the team, and there's going to be youth that hasn't had many minutes in the Premier League, and I think that he should be there to guide them. He should be there to help them. I mean, he's been shown to do that with Rice. I mean, Rice said how helpful he's been. David Martin said how helpful he was. I know David Martin's not youth, but you know, he hadn't really played. I just think with the pandemic, it's so uncertain, and I think we still need him. I still think we need him. We need him on the pitch. I mean, we certainly need him in the background as well. But I think extend by a year. And then once that year's up, let the poor man retire and let him have a job in West Ham. I know he mentioned director of football, which would be fantastic. I don't think he'll get that with GSB being in, but hey, you never know. But there'll always be a place at West Ham for Mark. Definitely. I hope everyone's staying safe and hope you're all well.
Hey everybody, it's Wally here from the American Hammers, and I'm giving you my thoughts on whether we should sign Noble for another contract after next year. And to me, it's a no-brainer. We got to do it. There's two reasons. One is Zabaleta was 35 this year, and even last year when he was 34, he was very useful to the squad, and maybe this year he's tailed off a bit, but if we give Noble another contract, he'll be 34, and I think he'll still be quite useful to the squad. And the second reason, the big reason in my opinion, is his value to the team. Listen, if Gold and Sullivan want to sell this team in a few years, they need to keep Noble because he is like the only valuable asset they have. This, you know, they sold off the old park, and Noble is Mr. West Ham, so he needs to be around, and preferably, you know, somewhere near the pitch for them to get a good price on the team. And those are my thoughts.
So this week's question is, should Mark Noble be given an extension, a contract extension? And in my opinion, yes, he should. I'd give him a 2-year extension. My reason being that I think he would be a great influence around the club, on and off the field. You know, on the field, really G up the players, make them understand what the fans expect. He may not be able to play the full 90 minutes, but he can come on and make a difference and give them a kick out the backside when they need it. Yeah? And tell them, that, as I said, what we expect as fans. And then off the field, he could be a great ambassador for the club. He can tell the players again what they need to be doing to shine within the club and be good representatives of the club. You know, and I would take that going forward as his playing days come to an end and start to dwindle and become less and less. I would have him more on the coaching staff and as an ambassador and telling people what it is, what it means, where the roots come from. We're a working class. Yeah, we ain't a poncy bunch of people, are we? So, and he's been a great servant to the club. So I would say yes. Give him an extension, 2 years, and then I'd go for a rolling 1 year contract. Sort it out from there. I think that would show respect for the fella, spending his career at the club, and showing a good example that that the club, Sullivan and Gold, do respect some history of the club, because I know everybody wants them out. All right, take it easy.
So this week's question, should we renew Mark Noble's contract in about a season's time? And I think we shouldn't. He'll be 34, 35. And I think he's obviously past his best, been a very loyal servant over the years. So I'd like to thank him for that. But no, we should look to bring the age down, average age of the squad. And he should be released. Similarly on the lines when I've seen anyone injury prone, Yamalenko, Wiltshire, they should be sort of let go of. Fredericks, in terms of standard, let go of him. Fabianski, we need to have a better backup than Randolph, I believe, so that's an area we should look at as well. And just continue to bring in younger, stronger players like Bowen. So not for me. Similarly, Antonio, I think he's way past his best as well. 29, 30, good time to sort of cash in. So we've got to make good, sensible business decisions, I think, and there's no point in offering him another 1 or 2 years. He'll be 35, 36. And you don't want to remember a player who's kind of struggling at the end and the crowd begins to turn against them. It's not very nice. So I think Mark himself has vocally already said he doesn't want to play every week. There should be someone taking over. And he's got a lot of business interests outside the football in terms of property investments, restaurants. So he'll probably focus on that afterwards. Or he'll be a good addition to the backroom staff if he passes and gets his coaching badge, or in an ambassador role for the club. So not for me. Let's look for another Souček type, I think, in the midfield, in that middle, which is such an important position. So not for me, thank you, but move on to a new player and new times, I think. Great, thank you, bye.
Hey, Hammers Poles. This is Tim with American Hammers TV, American Hammers Network, etc., etc. Anyway, the question was, does Mark Noble get an extension? If so, how long? Especially at his age. Well, dude's almost 34. Or is he 34? I don't even know. I just know he's old and doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot anymore, other than, rally the troops in big matches. But again, there's 38 matches a season. Well, it's supposed to be anyway. So we need someone who can be regular, and we have players like Souček and Rice, and I think even Snodgrass could play that position. That's my unpopular opinion. I wouldn't give him an extension. I'd give him some sort of player coach extension, something like that, so work it into his contract where he can actually be useful. But that said, I think realistically the owners will definitely give him a contract extension, maybe a year or two tops, because he's Mr. West Ham, and I know all of the loyalists out there will agree. Oh, as Mr. West Ham can do no wrong, I don't know. Me personally, I'd say no. No, we need to move on. It's time to move on. But I think the owners won't want to piss off the supporters any more than they already have. And they'll give him the extension and make everybody happy. So, I don't know. That said, keep rocking, Hammers Poles. Do your thing. And if this is your first time viewing one of these videos, make sure you subscribe to Hammers Poles, as well as American Hammers TV, though. Yeah, that'd be nice. Anyway, come on, you Irons.
For West Ham fans everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. Never miss a thing with the latest West Ham news, gossip and social stories as they break. Download the free COY Irons app now from the App Store and Google Play.